The Little Mermaid. Once upon a time, in the depths of the blue ocean, there was a magical kingdom of merfolk. In this underwater world, the Sea King lived in a grand coral palace with his 6 beautiful daughters. Among them, the youngest was the most special. She had long golden hair that shimmered like sunlight, skin as smooth as pearls, and a voice so enchanting that even the waves would pause to listen. The Little Mermaid was full of curiosity about the human world. She often sat on large rocks, watching ships sail by, and listened eagerly when her older sisters shared stories about the land above. She dreamed of one day seeing it all for herself. When she turned 15, she was finally allowed to swim to the surface. That day, the sea was calm, and the sky was a clear, endless blue. From a distance, she saw a large ship with white sails. Laughter and music drifted over the water. On board, she spotted a handsome prince with bright eyes and a radiant smile. Her heart skipped a beat. Suddenly, dark clouds rolled in, and a fierce storm struck. Waves crashed against the ship, and it broke apart. The prince was thrown into the sea, sinking deeper and deeper. Without hesitation, the Little Mermaid swam to rescue him. She pulled him to shore and laid him gently on the sand, gazing at him with tenderness. When he began to stir, she quickly hid behind the rocks. The prince opened his eyes just in time to see a shadowy figure retreating before a young woman from the nearby village approached to help him. The Little Mermaid couldn't stop thinking about the prince. Her heart ached with longing, a deep, unshakable pain that consumed her thoughts. The memories of the prince's smile and the sound of his laughter haunted her dreams. Desperate for a chance to be with him, she summoned all her courage and swam toward the dark and eerie lair of the sea witch. Even as fear clawed at her chest, the cave was tangled with seaweed, lit dimly by glowing sea creatures. The sea witch sat on a throne made of fish bones, her voice raspy and menacing. "I can give you legs so you can live among humans," the witch said, "but it will come at a cost. I want your voice, the most beautiful treasure of the sea." The Little Mermaid hesitated. Her voice was her greatest gift, but her love for the prince was stronger. She nodded firmly. The sea witch smirked and added, "You will have legs, but every step you take will feel like walking on sharp glass. The pain will never leave you. And remember this, if the prince marries someone else, you will dissolve into sea foam." Tears welled up in the Little Mermaid's eyes as she thought about the price she had to pay. Her voice was her most treasured gift, a part of who she was, but her love for the prince was stronger than her fear. With trembling hands and a heavy heart, she nodded in agreement. The witch laughed wickedly, cutting off the mermaid's long, golden hair and mixing it into a potion. The witch handed her a bubbling green vial. "Drink this. Once you do, you'll lose your voice, and your tail will become human legs." The Little Mermaid drank the potion. Pain shot through her body as her tail twisted and transformed into slender legs. Overwhelmed, she fainted, and the waves carried her to the shore. As the sun rose, its golden rays highlighted the Little Mermaid's delicate features. As she lay on the sandy beach, her new legs trembled under the gentle waves. The prince, out for a morning walk after sword practice, spotted her. He saw the girl lying still, her simple white dress soaked and clinging to her. Who is she? How did she end up here? He wondered aloud as he bent down to check on her. When the Little Mermaid opened her eyes, her frightened but innocent gaze struck him. She couldn't speak, but she lightly touched his hand, reassuring him she was okay. The prince carefully carried her back to his palace. Her lightness surprised him, as if she were made of air and sea foam. The palace healers examined her and said, "She is unhurt, but it seems she cannot speak." The prince arranged for her to stay in the palace, drawn to the quiet charm of her presence. Though she couldn't speak, her bright eyes and gentle gestures seemed to tell stories he couldn't quite grasp. There was something about her, a quiet strength and a unique beauty, that made him feel the need to protect her. Living on land was harder than the Little Mermaid had imagined. Each step felt like stepping on shards of glass, a sharp, unrelenting pain that shot through her legs with every movement. But she bit her lip and straightened her back, hiding her suffering behind a brave smile whenever the prince was near. She didn't want him to see her weakness. She wanted to be part of his world, no matter the cost. She always smiled when he was near, even though every movement hurt. The prince often tried to talk to her, but she could only respond with nods and gestures. Her silence intrigued him, and her smile warmed his heart. One evening, as they walked in the palace garden, she gazed at the blue sky and listened to the chirping birds. Her eyes sparkled, as if she were seeing a treasure. "You're unlike anyone I've ever met," the prince said. "It's as if you're from another world." The Little Mermaid smiled softly, using her eyes to convey feelings she couldn't express with words. Day by day, their bond grew stronger. Although she couldn't speak, her kindness and gentle presence captivated the prince. One day, the prince's parents announced his engagement to a neighboring princess. The news shattered the Little Mermaid's heart, but she stayed silent, hiding her pain. As preparations for the wedding progressed, the prince found himself unsettled. Though the neighboring princess was kind and beautiful, his heart wasn't at peace. Finally, he realized the truth. It wasn't the girl who saved him on the beach that he loved. It was the Little Mermaid. Her quiet strength, her enchanting smile, and her unique spirit had stolen his heart. The prince found her in the garden, standing quietly among the blooming flowers. The soft moonlight framed her figure, making her seem almost otherworldly. He knelt before her, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "I thought I loved the girl who saved me," he said softly. "But now I realize it's you. There's something about you, something pure and unspoken, that has captured my heart." Tears of joy streamed down the Little Mermaid's face as she nodded. At that moment, magic swirled around her, and her voice returned. She explained everything to the prince, who was deeply moved. The prince and the Little Mermaid's wedding was held by the sea, with waves gently lapping at the shore. Her family from the ocean joined, bringing gifts of shimmering pearls and coral. The Little Mermaid and her prince lived happily ever after, proving that love and sacrifice can overcome any obstacle. And that's all for this story. Thanks for your listening. Have a nice day.